going? Fabulous. La 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 la. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of 20-somethings? God, is it 7? It's definitely 7. 7. Welcome to episode 7 of 20-somethings, because we are in our 20-somethings and we all gather around to talk about some things. In my segment today, I'm going to be talking about what does it mean to be a strong, independent woman in today's society. I think it's evolved, and I think it continues to evolve. My mum, as soon as she found out she was having a daughter, said that she was adamant to have a strong, independent woman as a daughter. And she told me the story that apparently when I was born in my cot, she used to sit there and whisper, "You're a strong, independent woman, you're a strong, independent woman," in my ear over and over again every time I had a nap, to just hammer that home. Don't know if it made any difference or if, I am or not. However, I've discovered as I've gotten older that there are two types of strong, independent women, and people either sit with one or the other. Some people kind of sit with both, but I find that if you ask anybody, who do you think of when you think of a strong, independent woman? One type will sit there and say Emma Watson, Greta Thunberg kind of vibes. And another type will be like Nicki Minaj, Cardi B vibes. And I think that's a very generational thing. My mother would say Greta Thunberg, Emma Watson, whereas I would probably say Nicki Minaj, massive girl boss, to be fair, in my opinion. Because me and my mother, we watched this documentary quite a while ago about women in rap culture. We had such different views on the current society's women in rap culture, like so different. Everyone probably remembers NWA, the rap group from 90s, noughties, definitely the 90s, maybe a bit into the noughties. They released a song called A Bitch Is a Bitch, and it did really well. Like, it was really famous. It's a big song. A lot of you have probably heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, my God, it is one of the most derogatory songs ever. So they will say things in it like, every woman has a little bit of bitch in them. It's a disease that plagues all of the women race, and we've all got to just deal with it. Any woman that says she isn't a bitch definitely is a bitch, because every woman is a bitch, basically, is the whole song. And it sparked massive swarm of women rap artists of being, who the fuck are you calling a bitch? You're the fucking bitch. I'm not a bitch. The amount of women rappers that came into the industry purely just to reply to that song was enormous. And so me and my mum were in the same kind of boat with that, where we said, yeah, good for them. Great. Because that's just not fucking on. And by this point in time, we would have had decades and decades and decades of women only being in the rap culture as trophies or as a numbers game. And that would have been it, really. Other than kind of Salt and Pepper and that kind of vibe, they kind of started off. Queen Latifah, EVE, all of that. That was quite early on. But nevertheless, they were known as things to have sex with, right? However, nowadays, Nicki Minaj, for example, I referenced this to my mother, released a song called Barbie Dreams. And I played it a bit to her, and she was like, well, that's just sinking down to the men's level. And if you haven't heard Barbie Dreams, she goes through a lot of the male rappers in the current industry and talks about how she's had sex with them or she's dated them and just shits on them. So she talks about like 50 Cent, she talks about DJ Khaled, a lot of people, but she'll say like, I caught them in my dressing room stealing dresses and shit. Or with DJ Khaled, she says like, ain't no fat man telling me what to eat kind of thing. And it just completely shits on them. And I was like, do you know what? We've had so many songs about us being like, oh, I fucked her and she wasn't very good. Like Eminem talking about Khloe Kardashian saying, I woke up with the ugly Kardashian. Oh, Lamar, we both set the bar low kind of thing. Like shagging these ugly women. How many songs talk about that? So yawn. I'm bored of it. So the fact that Nicki released a song and was like, actually, these men are fucking shit to have sex with as well. Women enjoy sex as well. It was like an enormous thing, and I think is a real dub. But my mum doesn't like the fact that people like Cardi B and Nicki, they dress seductively and they sing songs about having sex. I know. Shocking. I mean, WAP. Full stop. What else is there to say about WAP? I look at it as like embracing female sexuality and finally taking a viewpoint of actually women enjoy sex as well. Shock horror gasp. It's almost like biologically we can. That's crazy. And my mum looks at it and is like, well, is that not just continuing the sexual objectification that these male rappers have been doing? I think that's interesting. I see her viewpoint, but I see mine more, naturally. But I think, again, that's a generational thing, so I think I'd be interested if anyone would like to let me know in any way, shape or form you see fit on what your views are, because I think that's really interesting. I personally think that embracing your sexuality and your, yeah, I'm fit and I'm sexy and people want to fuck me, but you'll only fuck me if I want to fuck you, is like a real power move, but each to their own. And I also don't see an issue with, even if it is for sexual objectification necessarily, because these women are making bank, big fucking mega bucks from this shit. And it made me think about stuff like OnlyFans, sugar babies. If you look at the world in quite a cynical way, this sexual objectification of women from straight men, will that ever die? Will it? I don't think so. I don't think it's ever going to die. But then I am quite cynical about that. I think that's always going to be a thing. There's never going to be a day where no man in the entire world has gripped a girl's ass in a club. There's never going to be a day where men aren't commenting about a woman's tits as she walks past them down the street. There's never going to be a day where men don't wolf whistle at younger women. That's not going to happen, in my opinion. So why not profit off it? Why not? If these men are going to be objectifying and see me as a piece of meat to use just to have sex with, fine. Pay me some money for it though, dude. And these OnlyFans girls are getting fucking shitloads of money from profitizing off of this weakness we have in society. And I think that's another fucking power move. If you can't change it, embrace it, and embrace it in a way that benefits you. I also think it completely discounts the fact that women watch porn as well. They do. They do. The amount of women that will sit there and be like, oh my God, no, I wouldn't ever. I've never even looked at my vagina. What is that? Who's she? Like that, it's just lies. It's a fucking lie. I don't think I know a single woman that hasn't watched porn, even if it isn't for sexual gratification, just out of fucking pure curiosity. But what is this attitude? There's this whole concept, isn't there, of the Madonna or the whore. And the Madonna theory is, you know, like a virgin, touch from a... that whole vibe. You're either a virgin that needs to be married and made love to, or you're a whore that you just fuck without any respect. These two different kinds of women, you can't be in between, you can't be neither, you have to be one or the other, is what continues this shit going on. This is why people are like, oh, women don't watch porn. Yes, they fucking do. Women wank as well. Imagine that. No, I'm actually going to go on a big fat rant about it because it pisses me off as well when women sit there and say that they don't do these things and they don't ever in the whole wide world, ever in my entire fucking whole life, I wouldn't ever. Because you're encouraging this attitude of women don't do that, women are really innocent and we're just here to be impaled and have children with. That's our role in life. Like Paris Hilton, blonde, dumb vibes, like fuck off, get a fucking grip of your life. That's not strong, independent woman vibes. Ugh. About women proposing, this is a real controversial topic. Because is that a power move? Is that a strong, independent woman power move? Or is it like, if a woman is proposing to a man, does that mean that the man just isn't doing enough? And that your relationship isn't strong enough for the man to do that? Is it breaking these traditional boundaries of, I need to wait for the man because I'm the weak, feeble woman? Or is it just proving that your relationship probably isn't where it should be? No offense if you are a woman that has proposed to a man. I'm not shitting on you. But I think it's a really widely debated topic. Women are like really strong and we're finding our voice and we're, you know, getting on with it in current society. Strong independent women like bad bitch vibes is such a big thing in current society. And I'm really fucking glad it is, because there's been so many years that it hasn't been. But that also means that lots of lines are blurred. You know, if a man opens a door for you. I was in a restaurant and it was obviously this couple that were on a first date, and this man held the door open for his date. She looked him up and down and went, "Do I look disabled?" Is that not just like manners and grace and decorum? I don't know. Perhaps men are losing their place in society a little bit as to how to be a gentleman. But it's not wolf whistling and groping. I can tell you that for free. I think there's loads more to say about it, but we'll sit here all day. So I'm going to move on. Oh, before we go, I must remember I am having my mother back on the pod. Whoop whoop, we love Fee Mackenzie. She's back and she's going to be answering some of your questions. All of my socials are underneath. Most of you are fucking friends with me anyway, so you just know them. Send me some questions that you have for my mum. I tend to lean more towards like advice questions. Just ask her whatever, she's so open and chill. So yeah, send your questions in. My guest for today is Miss Sas Hughes. She's sat opposite me, going like this. And we're going to be talking about the significance of labels, especially in today's culture. The significance of labels in terms of, you know, sexualities and what that means to your identities and your identities and your life. So yeah, it's going to be quite a big one. So give it a watch. Hello.
Hi.
Sas Hughes.
Sas Hughes.
So it's the first time I think I've ever addressed you in your full name.
Thank you, I liked it.
Sas Hughes, everybody. So, when people come on, I normally ask for an intro of themselves. But everyone freaks out about that. I don't know why. I don't need anything like crazy, any crazy facts. I just need, who are you? How old are you? Are you old enough to be on 20-somethings?
I'm not, no.
See, this is number 3 now of fucking teens on this fucking show. Just get older quicker, please.
I'm trying so hard.
Oh, yawn. Anyway, give us an intro. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing?
Hi, I'm Sas. I'm 19. I am from London. Sorry. And I study at UEA. Don't tell the internet, actually, never mind. They know.
Yeah. I've said on this show so many times, I'm like, yeah, I study at UEA.
I study at UEA then.
Yeah, it's calm. Because I'm not shitting on UEA.
Neither am I.
Ever, ever.
No.
Never, ever, ever. So, I would like you to tell us about how we kind of first met. Because I think that that's just a fun little segue.
As in how we properly met.
Mm.
So
obviously you can't name names because we've already said we're at the UEA. So, unidentifiable people.
I was in a specific module, which I did not specifically want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't attend. And then I went to a one-on-one with
Said person.
said module leader and said, "Oh no, I'm anxious." Because I was a bit anxious, but it wasn't the main reason. And said module leader put me in touch with Ava without very much happiness on my part. But then we met and we got on really well. We're besties.
I just think it's so funny because, oh, it's so funny. So I had my one-to-one with said module leader. And she was like, we talked about my work, my writing. And then before I left, she was like, "Oh, do you know Sas Hughes?" And I was like, "No, who's Sas Hughes?" And she was like, "Oh, well, she's meant to be in our module, but she's, you know, not fucking showing up." And I was like, "No." And then I went, "Actually, I do know her because she's in another one of my modules. And she does show up to that." And she was like, "Oh, well," she says she's feeling pretty anxious about coming to these seminars. So I'd really appreciate it if you emailed her. And so I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, I was like, I will email her because...
I got the longest, loveliest email I've ever read. Which I
Really?
did not respond to.
Really? You
Yeah.
thought it was lovely?
It was so nice.
Well, because I was really shooting in the dark. Because I was like, I don't know why she's not coming to seminars. It could either be you were really anxious, you were really nervous about coming, so I didn't want to seem pushy. It could mean that you hadn't done any of the work, which understandable, so I didn't want to seem like a sweat. It could be that you just didn't like said module leader, so I didn't want to seem like a lick ass, because I agree. So yeah, I tried to kind of tailor an email to suit all possible criteria, basically. And yeah, I sent you the email, you didn't reply. But you were in my other module, weren't you? So we had another seminar and we spoke about it.
Yeah. It was very nice.
Yeah. You just sat there and slagged her off.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I joined in.
And it was a really good bonding experience.
That is exactly what it is. We've bonded over our mutual hatred for this woman.
Exactly.
But I don't want to go too much into that just in case. But we are within our rights to be hateful of this woman because she is mean.
Evil.
Yeah, she's mean.
She's mean.
And it's not like we're sounding like spoiled little writing students here where we're like, oh, everyone has to say my work is amazing because I'm going to be the next famous author. That's not what it is. Not for me, anyway. I mean,
kidding.
that's not what it is. It's more just there are ways to give criticism constructively and there are ways to give criticism non-constructively.
Yeah, like I'd say in our other module, we all feed back to each other and we get feedback from our module leader, and it's all there's good stuff, there's bad stuff, there's advice on how to get better. And in this said module, you hear behind your back from a class you weren't in that your writing was not appropriate for a summative.
Didn't she use the phrase, this is not children's literature?
Oh, a good 2 times now, which is really fun. Because it's not children's literature. Children don't write about murder or read about murder. That's scary for kids.
And even so, Dr. Seuss...
Literature.
That is literature. Green eggs and ham stirs something in me.
Exactly.
It's clever. It's clever.
It's intellectual.
It is
Academic.
intellectual. I mean, Enid Blyton,
Yeah, true.
intellectual.
True.
Lemony Snicket,
Oh my god, that's the cleverest thing I've ever read.
isn't it? And
Did you see the TV show?
I didn't watch the TV show.
It's really good.
Oh, is it?
It actually is.
Because I watched the film with, oh, what's his name? As Count Olaf.
Jim Carrey.
Yes, Jim Carrey. And I watched that as a kid and I loved it. So I don't want to watch a TV show because I'm getting all like traditional about it. And I'm like, well, I've watched the original. I don't want to watch the new one. But is the new one good?
It is actually so good. Also, speaking of Jim Carrey, I was having a really fun chat with someone last night about whether he was like hot or not. And
Jim Carrey?
yeah.
Interesting.
Like, I think he's hot until he pulls the Grinch face mid.
Yes.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You can't say sex on this.
I know, but like,
You just are, yeah.
it's funnier to leave it blank.
Oh, yeah, I've just killed that joke, sorry. Yeah, mid-blank, haha.
But yeah, like,
Or like in The Mask, when he's in The Mask, the film The Mask, and he does that like
no, that doesn't bother me.
face
I'd
up.
be quite content with that.
Really?
I might even enjoy it. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I think young Jim Carrey was hot.
Yeah.
Like, what's that one he did with Scarlett Johansson, the Sun one?
Oh.
About the memory. Was it Scarlett Johansson? No, it wasn't.
It's got like a long title, like something of the everlasting. It's not everlasting.
It's to do with the memory and shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one, the Sun one. He's quite hot in that. Anyway, why are we talking about Jim Carrey? I've forgotten. Sexy. So, I wanted to talk to you about labels. That's why
Oh yeah.
you are here. And for an array of other reasons too. For your pure entertainment value and beautiful face. That's why you're here.
Thanks.
So, I wanted to ask you, just go straight in with the opening question of like, what is your views on labels in current society and the significance in them?
I don't personally really want to use labels,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think that they are good to explain things. So the best like label to describe me would be like asexual or demisexual, which is like not being attracted to people or not being attracted until there's emotional connection. But at the same time, like I don't want to walk around being like I'm asexual, because people just be like, oh, virgin.
Yeah, right. So there's a lot of assumptions that come with these labels then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know a lot of people who do like labels, and I think for a lot of people it's good. It gives like a sense of community and stuff. But I also think at a certain point, labels can be divisive, because it's like, oh, bi or pan, one of you is worse or something. Like, I don't think that. But you know, there's like a lot of like infighting, and at some point can't we all just be like chill and like happy? You know what I mean? What labels do you like? What do you think of them?
It's interesting you say that, because I very much have a very similar view. So I don't want to label myself, and but I don't. So you say, oh, you know, if I had to, I'd label myself as asexual or demisexual, because it's like kind of easier for people to understand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas I
don't want them to understand.
Yeah, to be fair, low key, like, because I kind of feel a bit like, well, why does anyone kind of care about who I want to have sex with and what gender they are? And like, it's just all a bit like personal. And I know this sounds really fucking contradictory, because I sit on this podcast and talk about my sex life and my dating and my fucking whole life, but I just. So my mum got into a relationship with a woman later on in life. They're not together anymore. And when she got into that relationship, it was after my dad, so she'd, you know, been married, had a kid, done all of that. The amount of people that were like, whoa, we thought you were straight. That's not allowed, because you're straight. And it's like, really? What, you're not allowed to change your mind? Like, once you're one thing, you have to stay that one thing for the rest of your life? I just don't want to... the aggression. I just don't want to have a constraint, and I don't want to give people an explanation, because it's none of their business, in my opinion. But I completely also understand on your part, because it's not as like clean cut, like obvious.
Yeah. Because
what you experience with your sexuality is probably more complex than what I experience with my sexuality.
Thank you. I try.
Well, that could be a blessing and a curse.
You know, I'm different.
Well, yeah. And I think, you know, to clear up people's confusion, and I think you probably, from what you've said to me before, you do it to just avoid the bombarding of questions, really. What kind of questions have you been asked? Could you say any? Put you on the spot, sorry. You don't have to.
A lot of people think it means I'm aromantic as well, but okay. I don't know. I don't really know. I think I'm not. Usually I don't know how to answer the questions.
Do you think it's necessary to answer them?
I really like the sound of my own voice, so I usually try to.
Fab, me too.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
Podcast. But no, like, it's not really anyone's business. But at the same time, like, for a lot of people, like, if they want to know, I can teach them things, I can give them some information.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people just, I've had people assume that it's because I can't get with anyone.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The audacity.
I know, it's ridiculous, because one, I'm, like, decent, if not slightly better than decent looking. And two, you should see me drunk. I am such a good flirter. Or over text. Oh, my God.
Men
who flock to me.
I get scared over text more so than I do in person.
Oh, I can't flirt genuinely over text.
No, I can't.
I flirt fakely, and then people think
it's real.
And then it's like a whole mess.
Yeah. No, I can't deal with the anxiety of, like, once you've hit send, like, waiting for their little bitmoji to pop up and read it, and fucking they're typing, and like, it's too much for me. It stresses me out.
Yeah. Well, the fact they could be half swiping me. Like,
oh, God, it's
just
too much.
about it. Just open the message.
Just open the message, please.
And tell me you love me.
Confess your love. Where's the ring? Yeah, no, so I think that's interesting what you're saying about you don't necessarily think the questions are, needed, but you also kind of try your best to answer them. So, obviously there will have been a day when you went like, I feel like something's a little different in my mind than it is, presumed to be. And can I just say, by the way, for the people watching, because I know we've just talked about how like questions are unnecessary, and I've got Sas sat here asking her questions about it and recording it and putting it online. I repeat, I asked for consent for this.
Like 6 times.
Unnecessary about 6 times. Are you sure this is okay? Are you absolutely sure? I sent her all the questions I was going to ask her. I was like, if there's anything wrong with these, just tell me if I can reword them. It just sound insensitive, And I'm trying to be very respectful about it. So,
well.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So, let's go back to the question I was actually going to ask.
When did I realise I was different?
Yes.
So I've always been a bit annoying, and so I'd in primary school, people be like, I want to grow up and have a husband, and I go, what about a wife? Just
shit,
cause issues.
How about them apples?
Exactly. And then at some point, very early on, I was just like, I don't really want to be with anyone. Imagine spending your life with one person. That seems unbelievably boring. Sorry. It's very nice. I now like the idea of it because it's nice to have a person.
Companionship.
Exactly.
But I also think it depends on where you're at in life.
Yeah, as a child. No, thank you.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, then at secondary school, everyone was like, oh, I want to have sex with that person. I was like, first of all, that's a 14-year-old, and you're a 14-year-old. Neither of you should be sexing right now.
Sexing? None of you should be sexing.
And it just never seemed appealing. The idea of if I had a crush on someone, it was usually just I wanted to be their friend, and then the idea of anything more than that just felt weird and wrong. But then I did end up dating someone for a while, and I did start to like them sexually, and I felt attracted to them, and so I guess it's a bit of time, But I think it's just difficult. Everyone's just so unappealing looking. I don't want them inside me. I don't want them inside them. No, keep that to each other.
Let's just keep our holes separate. How about
exactly.
that? No, and I actually have I've said this to my boyfriend post sex before, where I've been like, oh, if you think about it, this is actually quite mank. Biologically, this is just vile.
Yeah.
And
bacteria. Alone.
Oh my god, dude, the UTIs that I have had from penises.
I think I'm actually just prone to UTIs at this point. It's awful.
I've got scarring on my left kidney from how many I've had, and I'm probably going to have an operation on it because it's so fucked.
It's awful.
from the UTIs I had. I think my record was something fucking stupid. I had 20 in 1 year or something.
God.
Yeah.
Never mind, I'm not. I just have a regular amount.
Regular amount. A regular amount is between 6 and 10 a year.
Yeah, that seems like me.
Yeah.
I know people who've never had them, and that seems like lies.
Selfish fuckers. Angers me. Well, now I'm on a constant low-dose antibiotic, and I get 6 monthly ultrasounds, and I've had 3 different urologists, and yeah, not because I've sacked them being a Karen, they've just handed me over. I keep getting urologists go fuck knows what's going on, mate, and just pass it to someone else. Anyway, yes, biologically, sex is quite foul, I think.
Yeah.
I think it kind of hits me in the aftermath with the mess and the smells and the sweat and the just other fluids. The fucking travesty that's left.
Yeah.
It's very, they talk about post-nut clarity for men. I do feel like it's a thing with women.
Yeah.
Of that's intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess if I wasn't trying to understand it from your perspective, is that how you kind of look at it throughout as opposed to just after? Before and during?
No, I'd say it's because that's more about like the logistics of it.
Mm.
Think about someone you're not attracted to.
What, like
Just like you
aggressively
wouldn't-
unattracted or
Just
just...
someone that you wouldn't really want to sleep with.
Okay, yeah.
That's everyone to me. Like,
Because what I was thinking of was like people I've been friends with for a really long time
yeah,
that I wouldn't want to have sex with because I've been friends with them for a really long time.
yeah.
So is that the same thing? It would be like trying to have sex with someone that you've been mates with.
Actually, that would probably be easier for me because the whole demi thing, like the emotional attachment. No, it's more just like you see someone on the street and you don't find them attractive. Just like any stranger.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Like, they're just, nah.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting.
But I'm still figuring it out, so maybe I just have very, very high standards.
Well, that kind of leads me on to a question about, you've dated, you've been in a relationship.
Yes, just the one.
That's okay. That's more than okay. Lots of people our age haven't been in any.
Virgins, sorry, I'm kidding.
And so, do you think that your standard is really high? Do you think that the person you were in that relationship with was like,
God.
yeah,
He was nice.
he was nice? I don't think...
No, it was like, it worked because we'd been doing friends for a while, and we got on well, and I was at a time where I was like, this is a chance to get sex out of the way. He seemed like a nice guy to do it with. We're into each other. We ended up dating for 7 months, so it was quite nice. But yeah, I think, what was the question? I'm trying not to shit talk. And then I got distracted.
That's okay. The question was, you've been in a relationship before.
Yeah.
Do you think that means your standards are still really high? Was kind of what I was saying.
I think, okay, he was good looking, but I wasn't attracted to him because of the way he looked. I was attracted to him because of our friendship.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
So I think if I spent every day with another person, sat in their room getting high all day, I would probably fall for them as well.
Right.
I think because we spent so much time together, we had the same sense of humour, we got on really well, it worked, but he could have looked like anybody.
Yeah. But in a way, is that not
It's
the
normal.
healthiest way to originate a relationship?
Yeah, I think so.
That's
quite good.
Yeah, I think that's really wholesome and healthy. I mean, the way that me and my boyfriend started is filth. It's filth. Like, it's not a story to tell the grandkids at all.
It's a funny one, though, to tell the grandkids.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And a funny one to embarrass my future children with, do you know what I mean? If I have kids with him.
That's the goal, to embarrass future kids.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. But I think, I always kind of had that dream of being friends with someone and then, one day you just look at them differently and it's just, oh, amazing. And you don't need to get to know each other because they already know everything about you. And, oh, wow. All of that kind of stuff. That's like, rom-com shit.
Yeah.
Colleen Hoover shit.
Yeah, the goal is for the next one to not originate that friendship by doing drugs. I would like to find someone that we have similar
Yeah, that's less
interests
wholesome.
because we have similar interests. That would be nicer.
Yeah. Or just your mates. Like, I genuinely I'd like to meet someone in the, well, no, because I'm obviously in a relationship. Let's rephrase that. Blah, blah, blah.
I would have liked to.
I would have liked to, is what I'm trying to say. I would have liked to have met somebody and, like, been friends with them for just that golden period of time where you're not, like, in too deep in the friend zone. It's, like, irretrievable.
Yeah.
But that you know each other well enough and you're like, oh, shit, actually, I do kind of like them more than I realised.
Yeah.
I think
it's
that's a really nice way to do it. So, with this, do you mind talking about your relationship?
No, it's fine. This
Sure?
is good. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
With this relationship that you had, how did your kind of sexuality come into that? Because, I mean, we've had a conversation about it briefly, but I take it that, the person you dated, they weren't asexual as well.
No, basically, very early on, he was like, "Oh, do you want to go out?" And I was like, "Sure." I don't know what you think you're getting into, but I've explained myself quite clearly. And I was like, "We can try." And then he's like, "Oh, let's be boyfriend, girlfriend." And I was like, "Okay." I still haven't had sex. I'm not especially interested in it. If at some point in the relationship you decide you would rather be having sex with someone, we can talk then. We can maybe do something where it's open and you can have sex with other people, or we can just break up. And he was like, "Oh, but I want to have sex with you." And I was like, "That's ridiculous. Have sex with someone else. What difference does it make?" But apparently it's like a big deal. You want to sleep with the person you're dating.
Yeah, I mean, naturally that's a big deal. That's but I think that's for a completely different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I was like, "Okay, we can try." And then I had so many issues with sex in the first place. Like, I couldn't use tampons up until I started having sex because it would not open up.
You know, I know a lot of women that have said that, though, that aren't asexual.
Yeah.
A lot of women have been like, "Oh my God, it really jars me." One of my mum's friends, still in her 50s, cannot use tampons, and she's got 2 kids.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, "I can't deal with the idea of, like, something inside
odd.
me." Yeah, anyway, sorry, go on.
But yeah, so it took a while, but then eventually I overcame that, which was definitely a mental thing because I was not ready. But it was all consensual and fine. And then we started having sex, it was a lot of fun, blah, blah, blah. Broke up, haven't had sex since. Pretty content with my life.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had my mum on the first ever episode of this pod, and we talked about getting out of relationships, like breakups, basically. That's what everyone else fucking calls it, isn't it? A breakup. And the whole cliche of to get over someone, you need to get under someone else. And I know a lot of people that have done that. And I've low-key probably done that. And it does kind of work. But equally, is it the healthiest way to get over someone? I don't think so. And does it come from that need of wanting to get over someone, or does it come from that need of sex?
It's interesting. I did think about it, and then I went clubbing, and I looked around, and I was like, I could just fuck anyone. And then I realised that because I'd had so much time with this guy and started being attracted to him, I was still asexual, and I was still not attracted to anybody else. So it wasn't going to be easy. I figured, like, once I got into this relationship, I was fixed. I was normal. Sorry, shouldn't say that. But like, I was like, okay, I'm like fixed. I'm good now. I can do anything. I'm like a person. And then I looked around. And I was like, ooh, no, I'm not. This is really weird. And so I decided I didn't need to do that. I did sleep with him again after we broke up, which wasn't great.
I did the same with my ex-boyfriend.
But yeah, most people do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just sort of kept doing things and living my life, and all was well. I did kiss a few people at clubs, so that was my own equivalent of sleeping with someone.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes me a little sad when you say, oh, I thought I was fixed and I thought I was a normal person, because that insinuates that you think that there's something broken.
Rough. That's not a good way to put it.
Yeah. No. I don't mean that you're talking like sweeping statements like everyone that's asexual is something fucking wrong with you.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I love all you asexuals.
Yeah, that's not what you're saying. But I mean, for your own view of your own self and that part of yourself, do you feel like that? Do you kind of want it to be different?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have very many self-esteem issues. I'm pretty chill with most things about me.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it to be a bit of a burden. Like, sex is fun. It would be nice if I was attracted to people. Because otherwise, it's very difficult to have sex with someone you're not attracted to. Unless you're really drunk, for me at least. I think.
That's a good point. Because I've been in situations, I was seeing this guy at one point, and I'd kissed him in a club, and I planned on kissing him in that club and never seeing him again, because that happens.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't leave me alone, and I don't mean that in a sense of like in a creepy way. Like, he just wanted to spend like the rest of the clubbing night with me and make sure I got food and made sure I got home, and just took it very seriously. Which, fine, I guess a lot of people, do take it that way, and that was, my mistake, because I just pitched it wrong. But I was like, oh, do you know what? He is really nice, and obviously if he's taking it seriously, I should give him a chance, and I'll give it a go. And I met up with him a few times. And on the last time I saw him, I went to his house, and I went into his room, and we were kissing, and he very clearly was obviously trying to initiate something. And even in my mind, I was like, because I was saying to myself, it's fine. Like, he's a nice person. He obviously likes you. You're here now. You've seen him quite a few times. But there was something in me going like, no, like, this is so not what you want to do. This is so, like, wrong. Like, you don't want to do this. And it would not, I could not get past that. And I ended up faking a phone call from my mum when I went home. And I never saw him again. I didn't ghost him. I said, like, I'm really sorry this isn't working. But I didn't see him again. Because I thought about it for ages. Because I was like, he's really nice. And, blah, blah, blah. I just wasn't attracted to him.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. And there was nothing I could do about that. I just wasn't. And I couldn't imagine feeling like that about everyone. That's hard. That is hard.
It's alright.
Because also, how do you gauge what's right and what isn't for you?
Wait, what do you mean?
So I knew that sleeping with that guy wasn't going to be right for me because I wasn't attracted to him, whereas I have been attracted to other people. How do you know who is right for you and who isn't?
I just assume that everybody isn't, and then eventually at some point someone's going to persuade me that they are, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the other night I went clubbing, and I met up with two people. And the first one was a girl that was at the very beginning, and it was because nobody else was there, so we were just, like, both bored. And I didn't speak to her for the rest of the night.
I've done that. Fair enough.
There was another guy at the end. It was just a bit odd. It was just the whole thing was a bit odd, and I was like, I didn't want to kiss him, and, like, usually I don't have a problem kissing people. I was just like, it was just a really odd interaction. I ended up trading fun facts for kisses. Like, if he told me something interesting, I'd make out with him, which isn't great, but he was being odd. He, like, called me in the corner, and he was like, oh, flirt, and I was like, this is odd, give me a fun fact, because that's how I got
That's
out of that
such
situation.
a weird reaction to have, but, like, fair enough. Most women I know, if they got cornered by a bloke being like, oh, flirt with me, I don't think they'd go, but give me a fun fact. That's really interesting. But fine, yeah, go on. I like that.
But yeah, because he kept telling me I was flirting with him, and I was like, no, I'm just being mean to you. And he was like, no, you're into me. And I was like,
oh, the whole fucking you love it.
Yeah,
like,
and I was like, I'm really sorry, man, but I'm being mean to you because I want you to go away. Like, no, what are you doing? And then at some point I was convinced that I was flirting with him, so he did a very good job with that. Don't know how.
He gaslit you into thinking that you were
I
flirting.
was like, oh, I think I'm in love with this man, never mind. And then his friend started taking pictures of me, and it was like a whole thing.
Why?
Because I'm guessing this man doesn't get kissed very often. It was an interesting night. Where was I going with this?
I don't even know.
Oh, right. So,
how you know if someone's right or wrong.
Yeah, and so I knew that he was wrong. But even my good experiences, like, there was this one guy, he was really lovely, and we had, like, a really nice evening, and we made out, and I was like, you're too tall, no thank you. I don't know what it is, I just can't make these connections. I can't do the attraction bit. I don't want to, like, leave the club with anybody.
But you know what's really interesting is that the attraction bit can also be a real deterrent from right and wrong as well.
Yeah.
So, my boyfriend now, the reason I keep saying my boyfriend is because I don't say his name on this pod. It's not because I'm trying to flex it to everybody. But I thought he was really attractive. Really, really attractive. And I agree with this because at the time when we did start seeing each other, he was wrong for me. He's just not now because we've grown. But I knew he was wrong at the time, but the attraction came above it.
Okay.
So I would put myself through certain situations that I probably shouldn't have done just because he was fit,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, I guess it acts as a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that deterrent of being like, oh, they're a fucking asshole, but, you know?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will have had that. It's really confusing. So I guess it means that, you know, a lot of the time you go for people that you think are going to be emotionally and mentally right for you, as opposed to just physically.
Yeah. I'm also currently trying to work on my standards because the people that I am attracted to when it happens are usually fictional evil men. And so I'm trying to fix that. And it's kind of happening. I just keep telling myself to think differently and it's working. So you guys should try that. But yeah, and then it's just like anyone I do kind of like if I find someone instantly attractive, as soon as I talk to them, they become a real person. It's just gone. Like I can be I'll be intrigued by something, but as soon as not in like a creepy weird way. That sounds awful. But as soon as like a person, it's like, oh, I don't
Your
know.
real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah, no, I get that. And I also wanted to ask you, I don't think I gave you a heads up about this question because it's only popped into my mind.
Okay.
So do tell me if you're like, fuck off, don't want to talk about that. But you mentioned, you know, you had sex with your ex-boyfriend. Do you view that as a compromise?
Like I'm doing it for him.
Like, it has benefits to both of you and weaknesses to both of you. That's a compromise.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. At the same time, it always felt like it came out of the blue. He'd be like, oh, let's have sex. And I feel like I was just missing all of the cues.
Yeah, but my boyfriend does that.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good to know.
Yeah. I don't know if it's normal and if it's actually really weird and we've just come across some quite strange men, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it was just... Sorry, I got distracted by the computer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it just sometimes felt like, oh, but we could be doing anything else. But this is fun. I don't know. I could be reading a book right now.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think, I wondered if, because obviously you went into that relationship being like, I'm not interested, even saying, you know, do you want to be having sex with other people? And he went in saying, I want to be having sex with you, and you ended up having sex.
Yeah.
And so for somebody that labels themselves as, well, doesn't label yourself, but, you know, it's easier to say that you're asexual, I wonder if that's an issue for other asexual people, if they're like, you know, I feel like I'm just having to do things someone else's way.
Well, with asexuality, people tend to either identify as sex positive, sex neutral, sex like negative, I guess.
Okay.
I would say I'm positive or neutral because I'd be happy to do it. It's fun. But I know a lot of asexual people who are just like, it's just not for me. Why would I waste my time doing something I don't want to do? I'm not benefiting anything. But I do benefit when I come. So.
Yeah, fair. But I just think it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you flip that on its head, if you went into a relationship saying, I don't want to have sex, and he said, I do want to have sex, and you ended up never having sex.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I guess that'd be him compromising. Thing is, I only agreed to have sex when I was ready and wanted to.
Yeah.
After a while, I decided that when he first said it, I was like, that's not for me. But I could tell that it was something I would be interested in doing. So I was like, I can't do it now, but I can do it later. If I never wanted to have sex, I would have broken up. So I think if you're asexual and you don't want to, then one of you has to compromise. But in my situation, I did, but part of it was that I wasn't ready for normal reasons. But also it just took me a while to get there. We were dating for 3 months before anything happened. So I think my mum always tells me that he compromised a lot for 3 months. So I was like, I'm pretty sure he wasn't having sex for the 3 months before we started dating either. He can manage. But
Yeah. No, that's questionable. I found out that my boyfriend had sex with someone a week before we met, like we got together. And he
Alright.
told me for ages and ages that it had been months and months and months. Like he hadn't seen anyone for ages. And it was a week. I don't even think it was a full week. It was like 5 days or something.
Oh, fair enough. I
And
mean, I don't know what he was doing, but we lived together, so
You would have known.
if someone was coming in and out the flat, I would notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't be sure. Maybe he gets up early.
I just think it's no. I don't think so. I just think it's interesting to. I'm glad that you felt all right to answer that, because I think, I imagine it's something that causes maybe some guilt for some people, and I'm glad that you addressed that and were like, yeah, just chill about it, and I think that's really healthy.
Thanks, I try.
You're welcome. And I'm just thinking about like the things that I wanted to ask you, because I don't want to miss something out. I kind of want to ask you about like your views on how I'm trying to think about a way to put it. This isn't very entertaining. Sorry guys, me just mumbling to myself. I think, what do you think about the whole concept of, because I was talking about in my intro, wasn't I, about OnlyFans, porn, sex sells kind of concept. Sex is an enormous thing currently in our societies. It's a big money maker because everyone loves it, supposedly. So I kind of wanted to ask you what you thought about that. And I don't necessarily mean like, do you watch porn? I just mean like, what do you think about that significance?
That was, honestly, it helped me realise I was asexual much earlier on than I guess people maybe used to.
Okay.
If they knew. I mean, it wasn't around as a word for a while, but I think it definitely helped me figure it out. I respect it. That's one of the things. I wish I wasn't asexual, because I could be making so much money, like so much easier. Like, sure, I could do all that stuff, but I'd know what I was doing, because I would understand it better if I felt it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
But yeah, no, I really respect it. Like, yay, women. Making
Yeah.
money. Use your sex.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah.
Because you were also, I always film my intro and my outro and my little segment before I have my guests on. And so they just sit and watch, so it was a bit awkward. But you said about the women proposing thing as well, didn't you? You were like, I don't agree with you.
Oh yeah, I thought whilst, oh my god, what did you even say? Oh right, so I think if you're in a good relationship and the woman proposes, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Whoever proposes, it doesn't matter. It's in the same way that I know someone who's like, oh, I'm going to be really pissed off if the guy I'm seeing doesn't ask me out within the week. And I was like, do it yourself. If you guys both like each other, it's not that big a deal. I think it's the same with marriage. If you both like each other and you both feel the same way, it doesn't matter who proposes. It's romantic on either way. But if you're a woman doing it for the sake of being, I'm going to propose because I'm the woman,
that's then the issue.
yeah, your relationship's probably built on spite or something. It's less healthy. If you want to propose because it makes you feel independent and the guy you're with would enjoy that, fair enough. Do what you like. If it's done healthily,
yeah,
do it as well.
I was going to say, I think that it became an issue for a while because a lot of men said that it felt like it kind of emasculated them. Having a woman propose.
Then don't marry a man who gets emasculated by a ring. Like, chill
Yeah,
out.
this is what I mean. And I think, I don't really have a right or wrong view on it, to be honest. I don't have a, how do I put it? Like, oh, yeah, it's great, or no, it's really bad. I think I see the pros and cons of both sides of it, to be honest. If I had to sit there personally and say, like, would I do it? No. But I wouldn't do it, not because I'm a traditionalist and I feel like, well, always must be men. It's because that's a moment that, like, I've dreamed of for years and years and years. And I want to be told, like, how much I'm loved and, want to be asked a question and I want to have a surprise and someone plan something nice, because who doesn't want that? Yeah, and like I remember with my boyfriend, like we were seeing each other and we did things kind of back to front. Like we were saying like I love you, seeing each other every single day, meeting each other's families before we were together.
Fun.
So it kind of got to a point where it's like, should we just be together? Because that kind of makes sense. And I said, yeah, great, but you need to ask me properly. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I expect you to like ask me properly and have, you know, like nice reasons why I should be your girlfriend and, you know, why you would like that. Like, give me a pitch. Like, you're pitching it for me, like a business plan. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, fine. And I was like, I don't want you to tell me when it's going to be. I want to be surprised by it, even though I know it's coming. And it was really sweet, actually. Like, he'd like sat there and like memorized like what to say to me. It was really, really nice. So I think that I'd probably have a similar thing with getting engaged. I want that. But maybe that's just me being like massive ego, just need to be told that I'm brilliant.
No, that's fair. I used to like, I was like, oh, if I ever do get married, I'd want to propose. Because I like doing nice things for people and I like making people feel special. And I was like, whoever I'm marrying, if it's like a man, then this guy probably never gets this. Let's do something nice.
Yeah.
They need to be told they're special.
I think it's really interesting. I think it depends basically on like your viewpoint and like how your signs of affection, like your love languages are.
Yeah.
So my love languages are very much like words of affirmation. I'm not really an acts of service kind of gal, but I do appreciate them myself. I sound like such an arsehole.
No, it's fine.
But I will always tell you that you're brilliant and you're lovely and that, you know, like, well done, and like try and comfort or just brighten your day a bit. Or like I'll send texts or whatever if I know that like they've gone to do something stressful or difficult, and be like, how's it going? You okay? Get to see you soon? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think I always feel a bit like, because I'm giving out these words of affirmation, I'd like some.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I get you. My like love language is like gift giving. So that's like ideal for me proposing.
Yeah.
Like one of the nice things I did in my ex relationship was he was having a bad day, and I took him on a walk, gave him a cigarette, and I picked him a flower, and he kept on his windowsill, and it was quite sweet. And like I just like little trinkets.
That is literally the cutest thing ever. I'd love to be taken on a walk, given it.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, right. I'd love to be taken on a walk, given a cigarette and a flower, and I'd keep the flower. That's so cute. I love things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? It's just love languages, but obviously, actually, this can circle back because love language. One of them is physical touch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you cuddly as a person, or are you like, please don't?
It's like a whole thing. Like I'm really bad at intimacy, partly from the asexual, partly I'm just very like, don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
And I apparently give off quite a don't touch me energy sometimes.
You do?
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
that'll be part of it.
But that's why when we say bye and stuff, I'm not like, you know,
Yeah.
because I can sense that. That's just uncomfortable for you.
I love hugs. And
Oh,
I love
really?
hand holding. Like,
Okay.
hand holding is really big for me. Like, if I'm close to someone, I just want you know?
Oh, interesting. So you're quite a physically affectionate person.
Yeah, it's really weird because I'm not like that with friends, but then I'll go home. Like, I'm not like that at uni. And then I'll go home and I'll just be like, I'm hugging my mum 24/7 just for the sake of it. It's really nice.
Oh, mum hugs are just different though, aren't they?
Yeah, true. And so then, like, being in my first relationship is weird because I was like, I have somebody I can hug at uni.
Mm-hmm.
That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So, would you say that physical touch is one of your love languages?
Do you know what? I think it genuinely depends on the day, mate. Like, sometimes, and also I think it's an age thing. So, like the first relationship I had, we met when we were 16, and we broke up when we were 19. So we were together quite a while. I was quite physically needy, like almost clung to him, like always wanted to have a cuddle, always wanted to be holding hands, always needs to be touching at some point, like literally to the point where like, we'd be going around the house and I'd be my arms wrapped around his waist and my toes are on his feet and he'd walk around like doing his bits and bobs and I'm attached to him like a little baby chimp basically. Really needy, and I'm not like that with my current boyfriend at all. Obviously I like cuddles and I like holding hands and stuff, but I'd say he's much more physically affectionate than I am. Because sometimes I think, especially when I'm tired, like if he's like put his head on my chest, I'm like, oh, your hair's poking me in the eye, and like, oh, just fuck off. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting. It depends on my mood, but then sometimes I come home and I just want to have a cuddle. I don't want to do anything else. So I think it just depends on my mood. So maybe less so than it used to be. I think I've gotten a bit more bitter with age.
That was something interesting actually about our relationship, because we spent most of it shitting on each other, like making fun of each other, because like we had a similar sense of humour. And then like about a fair amount in, I started to get really insecure because I was like, oh, I can't actually tell when he's joking.
Oh shit, okay.
And so like, where was I going with this? I just suddenly like got deep. So things like physical touch and stuff, like he didn't want to hold my hand in public sometimes, and I was like, I don't know when is appropriate to, and so I was like, it was one of the reasons I wanted to break up, was because everything got weird, because everything was like, so it was constantly making fun of each other. I then got worried he just didn't like me.
Right.
Yeah. And then I think he stopped liking me anyway, and I didn't. It was just, we grew apart, you know.
That happens. And I think there's always expectations as well of what a relationship should be.
Yeah, that's where it was. Because, like, I just didn't know. And so we were very like, oh, don't do, like, intimate things. That's, like, cringe. And I was like, oh, but at what point is it okay?
Yeah, and I feel like that with my boyfriend, though.
Yeah.
Where, he doesn't have any social media presence. That's why I don't say his name on here, because he doesn't post anything. He doesn't have TikTok or any of that kind of shit. So it wouldn't be fair for me to then be like, oh, no, about him. But he has accounts. He just doesn't post on them. And I really want him to post me at least once, or us, or something. Even just a story, like something. I'd love that. And he's like, well, Ava, I don't see the point in doing that because I don't even post anything of me. Yeah. And I think that's really cringe when people like post like couple pictures and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, super cringe. But like, actually, I'm like, can you please like post something? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of things that like I probably would like to do, but he's like, that's cringe.
Yeah. So like, I think there was things that my ex said he wanted to do. I was like, that's cringe. And then there'd be things I wanted to do and be like, well, that's cringe. And then we just never did anything.
Wow. Well, what kind of things did you think were cringe?
I can't even think off the top of my head.
Right.
But it was just like, I find a lot of coupley things cringe. But that's just because, I don't know.
I think, you know how
They're just happy and they shouldn't be.
Well, I don't mind that. Although I do think if you're like eating each other's face in just like a park, like just chill out, mate.
Yeah.
Take a breather. I get it, like, obviously, it depends on the venue, like, in, like, club culture and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, people will be getting off, that's normal. But really, in a park where there's kids and, like, dog walkers and stuff, like, just take a breath of fresh air, please. It's just disgusting. Please chill out. But something that I think's cringe, so, like, the couples, like, Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Barker, Megan Fox, MGK. The Megan Fox and MGK are like the worst for me because of the blood vials cringe. The wedding, the engagement ring that had thorns in it, so it would physically hurt her to take it off. Like, that's all cringe to me.
Yeah.
Some pet names make me cringe. Don't like baby.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why are you calling me that?
Like, are you attracted to children?
Yeah, stop.
Sorry.
I don't like that. Are you a paedophile? Yeah, no, I don't like that. I don't like anything really cute. So it was like honey bumpkins, like cutie pie, all of them. Like, it makes you actually like gag. That makes you feel sick. So I've got an array that I think's cringe too.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the trick, is just to find someone that you have the same exact cringeness level.
That's what I've been thinking, because I've started making friends with people who are just really lovely to each other all the time. Like, they make fun of each other sometimes, but they're just nice people, and they're happy being, like, cringe with each other. And I was like, oh, they're happy. Maybe I should start being,
that's
like,
how you're happy.
comfortably cringe.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, to be fair, if my boyfriend's friends saw us spending time together one-on-one, my boyfriend would die. Like, he would cringe.
Yeah.
The way that you spend time together one-on-one. But then I don't think that we share that with other people. But I quite like that we don't.
Yeah.
Because then that's our time that is just for us. So like the way that we speak to each other and the affection that we show each other, we don't do in front of other people, because we just don't.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's a little cringe.
Yeah, it's fair.
If we were like, oh, what do you want to have for dinner? Like, that's so cringe. We don't speak to each other like that anyway.
It's so good.
But, do you know what I mean? I just think that's so cringe. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking waffling about cringe now. But, yeah, to be fair, I'm going to ask you my last question.
Cool.
My final question. Can I do a drum beat on this? Will it just be really loud and annoying?
You can try.
What it be like?
Oh.
No, it just sounds a bit shit.
No, it sounded like a snare drum.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Don't know the drums. I just know the bass. Boom. Anyway, right. Final question that I was going to ask you is, if you could go back in time and speak to younger Sas, / speak to other people that are a little lost with that part of themselves, what advice would you give? Really basic question, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Just chill out and don't be annoying about it.
Such a good. I'd say that to myself about so much stuff.
I was so annoying. I'm still pretty annoying. I was unbearable. And if my future self had come back and just told me to shut up, I think I'm happy with where my life is, but I think I'd be a little bit happier or cooler or something. I think my life could be like in a better place if I just stopped talking when I was 14.
I think a lot of people would agree. Not about you, but I mean, yeah, everyone hated you. No, I mean, about themselves.
Yeah.
I was a fucking little asshole at 14. I thought I knew everything. Like, shut up.
To be fair, I did know everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything I could know.
Right.
I think I've gone down in intelligence. I knew. I had facts just going around my head.
Just peaked at 14.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I do think that that's wise advice for a lot of things, really. And I do think in terms of labels too, because if I was going to go into it with myself, you know, I've had some diverse experiences. Woo-woo. With my sexual history. And from quite a young age as well, to be fair. So I kind of had the whole thing where I was like, what does this make me? What does this mean? And it took me a while to just be like, does it matter? Does it matter? Like, I mean, I completely understand when it's like, you know, there's some people that their sexuality is so important to their identity and their character and their life, and that's part of them, you know. But it wasn't as important as that to me. So I just let it go, and I just kind of thought, you know what, I'll sleep with who I want to sleep with, and I'll kiss who I want to kiss.
Hey.
And I don't need to put a label on that. So I agree with you. Just chill out.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else, oh my God, concluding, that you would like to say before we sign off?
Can I plug the society I'm committee for?
You can plug the society you're a committee for, yeah.
If any of you wonderful listeners go to UEA, we're running our final auditions today. You can send in self-tapes. Come join.
Today?
Today. B&B More Chill, the musical.
This comes out on Friday.
That's fine. Send in self-tapes.
Or get some tickets to go.
Also, you can go for production roles. But yeah.
There we go.
Yay.
Just plug the name once more.
DMTS.
DMTS
Yay.
at UEA. There you go. Thank you for coming on, Sas.
Thank you for having me.
It's exciting.
I'm going to take off the headphones.
Yeah, I've got hoops on. They're like murdering my ears.
Are sweaty.
See you in the outro. Bye. Thanks so much for watching episode 7. Definitely is episode 7. I've confirmed it in my notebook now. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye. I'm waffling. Anyway, that was profiting? Profitizing. Profiting. Fuck off, man. Well, I also was going to mention, but I don't know if I will. I was going to mention... No, I'll fucking mention it. It's not like I sit here and I go like, right. All right?
Yeah, you're in my ears.
Yeah, I am.